What's going on, guys? Today I'm going to show you how to vinyl wrap this front fender in KKvinyl Gloss Metallic Purple. Beautiful, astonishing color, incredible finish, super high gloss. This is it right here on the mirror. We already did that one. Now we're moving on to the fender. I'm going to show you how to do this very thoroughly, very detailed, and what the end result is going to look like. What we need to do this, we need some masking tape, we need a knife, we need a heat gun, a tape measure, some 70% isopropyl alcohol, a clean cloth, and preferably a wrap glove and a squeegee. These are important. That's the most you need to do this. Other stuff is optional if you choose to use it. You don't need everything else. This is a very low cost way to start a business and get into doing something like this. Now, I'm gonna measure this fender to see how much vinyl I need. We need from the very top corner right here to the very bottom, and we're gonna go a little extra, we always do. So end to end, it's about 34 inches. We're going to cut this about 37, 38 inches, giving ourselves some bleed. What bleed means is that we have a little extra on all of the ends. That's important because we need to be able to grab the vinyl and hold on to the vinyl on the exterior side. Mainly, you don't want to usually grab the vinyl on the interior side. The interior side would be handling the film where we're actually laying down the film. We want to keep our hands mostly on the outside. Also, one tool that I forgot to mention that you're going to want is a vinyl cutter, which is something like that. Again, your own preference of what you want to use. Otherwise, we don't need a whole lot. Now that I've measured that, we need about 38 inches. I'll keep that in my memory. We're going to prep the panel. We're going to wipe it down. Now, do you need to open the hood to do this? You can if you'd like. You don't need to. I find usually keeping the hood closed is a great way to trim and cut the film. I'm going to mist our microfiber cloth down, or soak it, that's what I like to do, and wipe off the main part of the surface. What I'm also doing is wiping off the hood a little bit, the light, and the bumper. I want to wipe off the surrounding areas just in case we might pick up some contaminants or anything else that might be in that area. Let's keep wiping the bottom here. Now this fender has a bit of damage on the bottom, in case anyone did notice that. We're going to wipe in this area here. Now this area here, there was a plastic cover. I removed it, so we don't have to worry about that being in our way either. Do you have to remove everything? It helps to remove stuff. You don't have to, you can work around things. It's always a cleaner installation if you remove pieces out of the way. We're gonna get in there with our squeegee. As you can see, I wrapped my microfiber cloth around the squeegee, and I'm using the hard edge, not the buffer side, to get in to tighter areas where my fingers can't fit and so forth. Try and get all the way in there, all the way down there. And see how dirty that is? It's not even a bad idea to go over it again. Let's do it again. Excellent. It's a lot cleaner now. I'm going to keep shifting the cloth. We're going to come around here where the headlight is. We're going to come in here also. And then what we're going to do is we're also going to come inside the door area, which is easily accessed if we just open the door. Again, I like to keep my rag pretty wet, not soaked, but just wet enough that we're stripping off a lot of dirt and grease. I mean, this is the cleanest the car's ever been since it was brand new, probably around that edge. Let's close this again. And I'm just gonna move something out of the way here. Perfect. Let's get in this last little bit. Perfect. Okay, we have one more area to do, which is mainly the wheel well area. Now in here, there's a plastic trim piece. I'm just gonna put my squeegee inside of there and wipe that out. It wasn't terribly dirty actually compared to some other areas. And then let's go into a cleaner part of the cloth. And I just constantly keep flipping the cloth around. Get in there. It's very important, look how dirty that is. I'm gonna do that again because it was very dirty. Good. We should be fine to be able to start the next step, which is apply masking tape. Now, we don't need masking tape in a lot of areas. I find that it's best to apply masking tape to tight areas. A tight area would be usually from the quarter panel to the fender. So I'm going to apply some masking tape to the quarter panel and not the fender. Be sure that your masking tape does not overlap the area that you're trying to wrap. Now, if you feel a little more comfortable, you can put 2 pieces down, because sometimes we end up cutting on this masking tape. FYI. It's important to sometimes add an extra piece if you're not comfortable with cutting. A piece or 2 or 3. We're going to come down here on the light. Now, the light is something we don't want to damage. It's one of the more expensive parts of the vehicle on most vehicles. And as far as wrapping goes, I mean, it would probably be one of the most expensive areas that you could potentially damage. I don't know if there are other areas of a vehicle, as far as, you know, like the mirrors go or the door handles go, even just if you scratch the door or something, that's going to cost you as much as the headlight will. So we want to protect that as much as we possibly can. We're going to mask off the bumper to the fender. That helps a lot too. 1 piece is fine. I'm not worried about cutting through the tape. I just put 2 on the light as more of a precaution. But again, I know that I'm not going to be cutting through the tape. That's all set up. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to grab my piece of vinyl, bring it over, and we're going to get it mounted onto the panel. Okay, here's my vinyl. I'm going to bring it on over. Now we have a lot of length here. It's okay. We're going to be trimming some off. What I like to do is I like to put my magnets on the opposite panels, which if we're going to be using magnets, it's good to put them right now. I have it on the hood area and I have it on the door area. What we'll do next is we can cut out the excess film. So I know that I have a lot extra on the length, and as far as, you know, what's back here, we could probably slide it a little bit more forward. So I don't want to be too far back, because if I'm too far back, I'm going to be on my mirror, and I don't want that because the mirror's sort of in the way. Now, the more you strip off of the vehicle and you take off like the mirror and the bumper and so on, and the headlight, the easier it is to wrap. So just keep that in mind if that's the extent that you're willing to go to. It's what I usually do. Oops. But it's also possible to wrap it the way I'm showing you right now. And do a good job. Let's try and hold that there. Now this has a hard plastic cap on it, which actually makes the film really rigid. Now this piece, see how that's kind of wrinkling up? So what I'll do is I'll just remove it now. This way it doesn't potentially damage the film. It's not good to let it sit there like that as it's really wrinkled. So we're just gonna remove that, and I'll just hang it or throw it inside the car for now. Again, that cap is mainly used for shipping purposes. What we'll do now is we'll trim below where the bumper meets the fender, which is somewhere around there. And we're gonna stay inside the wheel well. It's a little bit tricky cutting it with the cap on it, that's okay. You can take it off before you put it on the panel. It's totally up to you. I don't find that it's that much more difficult to put it on the car with the cap on it. And let's just remove that. It becomes a lot softer once you remove this plastic cap. It's like extremely soft. Let's hang that there. You can even throw it in the car. Now what we need to do is we need to remove all of the plastic cap. I'm just going to make sure my film is in the correct position still. It is. Now I'm going to put that magnet there. So I like to have 2 magnets on my wrap all the time. And the nice part about this plastic cap is that it removes very easily. Okay? There are some other brands on the market that have plastic caps, and sometimes just hard to remove. It comes off very nicely, very easily. Again, it's not something that you're going to install with the vinyl. You know, you might be thinking, oh, you're gonna get scratches, whatever. Yeah, you are gonna get some swirl marks in the film. If your buffer is clean, this guy right here, this little blue thing I have on the end of my squeegee, if that's clean, you don't have to worry so much about the scratches being more permanent. Plus, when we remove that protective cap, if there was any dust on the surface, that actually removed all the dust from the surface. So yes, you are gonna see some swirl marks, but most of them will heat out when we're done. I'm gonna start from this end and bring the film over because I'm right-handed, and as I've developed habits over time, this I find is the easiest way to do it for me. The PET release liner, this is a plastic release liner, which is what I'm having in my right hand here. That's what helps gives this vinyl a ultimately crazy gloss finish. So what we want to do now is we're going to try and just tack the film more or less to the outside of the, let's say I'm tacking it to the door, and then I'm going to try to tack it to the quarter panel right here. Cool. If it tacks to the actual, and by tacking I mean like sticks to the actual fender, it's okay. We're not really squeegeeing it down yet, so everything should be fine. Take your time there. Try not to let this kind of thing happen. It can potentially compromise the finish. So if it happens, deal with it right away. Don't let it sit there. Now what we want to do is I'm just going to let this sit here on the hood. I'm going to put my magnet over here. And I I'm feeling like I don't need a lot of heat to stretch this vinyl, so I might even not need a heat gun right now. We need to pull the film across the fender. If we don't pull the film across the fender, it's gonna stay bunched up like this. Let's bring the camera in to show you guys a little bit better. All right, now what I wanna do is I wanna pull the film back to the starting position, which is somewhere around there, and bring it across. Normally, I like to start with like a nice flat spot, which is sort of around there, and then pull the film across. I like to lift the film quickly. It's my preference. Let's go one more probably. There we go. Look how flat that is right over there. That's critical. We're gonna take this now. We're gonna pull it nice and tight. Watch what I'm doing. My left hand and my right hand are top and bottom. So kick that piece out of the way. I'm giving the film time to stretch, and I'm leaning on the film. Now I'm hitting the panel in the middle here. See how it's all just kind of spreading out and getting really, really nice. Okay, right down here, I'm not gonna finish yet. I want to pop that up a little bit more. There we go. Bingo. It's beautiful. I don't like to let off the film before I've accomplished what I need to do, which is flatten the area out. Let's start from here and let's work our air. And right now we're going to see just how well the air release works, because this is extremely tight through the middle here. So we're going to squeegee it in one direction, mainly across this way. I have these big wrinkles here, so I have to actually flatten them out. That's it. That's how we do it. I'm going to take our squeegee, come right through there, right through there, right through there, right through there. Try and do that swiftly. Squeegee out some of those. Beautiful. This color is awesome. I really like it a lot. All right, I'm alleviating tension by doing that, which allows me to finish up the top edge here really nicely. There we go. Now I'm just going to let the film sit like that for now. The top section is nearly done. We have a little bit more to do up there. We're going to finish up the bottom here. There we go. One more. There we go. Perfect. Pull that tight. Pull it down. Beautiful. Come through and squeegee that out. Squeegee so nicely. If you see any little imperfections or anything in the film, it's just because of me. What we would normally do is clay bar the car, and that would be a good way to prep it. And this is just showing you how to install it and do it nicely. It's perfect. It's 100% perfect. Okay, so that's almost done as far as wrapping the actual panel goes. We need to finish up the top edge right here. So because I have tension at this line, what I need to do is I need to do a relief cut. And I want to be careful because here's my gap between the hood and the actual fender. So I'm going to come through here and not cut into my fender area. But just like that, sort of. And that's going to help that come down a lot easier. Also here's where the quarter panel sits. So I'm going to actually come around the quarter panel like that. And now this piece is much more free and able to go down in its place without even stretching it. Super simple. Doesn't get more simplified than that. All right, heating. We're gonna be doing that now. We're gonna take our glove, put that on. We're gonna take our heat gun, and we're gonna start adding some heats. So what I like to do is add some heat on the door area here. Just flatten out this line, make it look really nice. Beautiful. This way when we cut, everything is super straight. Let's come down and lay into all that damaged area on the bottom here. It's okay, the film is gonna go right into all that, and it's gonna cover up all that ugly damage that was there. And I'm just heating and softening the film as I do this. Works really, really well. It's great. Awesome. What we'll do now is we'll cut from the top, which is right here, and not the very top, but close to the top. And then I'm running my knife on the door side. So this gives me a little bit of extra vinyl to roll around into the fender area. Be very cautious when you come around the bottom turn here. That's a little bit of a critical area, so it can be difficult to cut when you're turning your knife at the same time. Same thing, I'm going to cut on the actual lower rocker panel side. I'm not cutting on any paint right now. At the top here, I'm going to bring this up. At the top, I'll lift the film and bring that out just like that. Let's do right here. So I have tape there, right? So which means I can run my knife on my tape. So this is how I like to do it. You don't have to do it this way. You can see that I did not cut the film, right? What I was trying to do was score the film. Look at that, beautiful. That's crazy, right? That's really crazy that you can do that. So it's all about having the right amount of pressure without actually cutting through. And it will score the film exactly where you want it. Again, same thing on the light. So I'm going to trim a lot of this off. You can hear my knife dragging, which is a good sound to hear. You can see that I did not cut that. Look, see now I pull it apart. Look at that. It's crazy. That's when you know you're doing good cuts. Let's come around here on the top. Perfect. That kind of separates this area, and that area. So they're all kind of separated right now. Helps a lot. What I like to do here again on the top, especially over there on that top side, is add heat. I'm gonna do that. Just smooth out that edge. Same thing here, I'll just do it where the headlight is. Lovely. Look at that. It's just a really nice looking wrap. I'm gonna take my knife, poke it in, not right at the headlight, but just before it, sort of like I did back here. I don't like to start my cuts at the very end. Now it's gonna get awkward as far as my hand goes, so I need to switch positions here and make sure I'm comfortable. Now, we're gonna take this section right here, and we're gonna come out towards our headlight. Pull it that way. Look at that. Let's now come across, you can just basically start doing whatever you want to do, but start trimming off a lot of the excess film. I'm going to come across here, you can do exactly the way I'm doing it if you want to. Come across there, come out this way. Excellent. Good. We have, as far as excess vinyl goes, we have some in here. So I'm going to trim here. Now I know that the plastic cover that goes on here is going to cover, it comes right out almost flush to the edge, which is important to remember when you put that plastic cover back on, when you're wrapping, is that you know how far that plastic cover sticks out. It's good to always keep a little bit of tension on the film as you're cutting it. It makes your cuts cleaner, straighter, so forth. And now we're going to get into some more detail work. Let me bring the camera over to this section here. Okay, now we're just going to heat. We're going to push the film down around the corners slightly, just like that while it's cold. Just like that. Same thing here. Just going to push that one down, sort of like that, and while it's cold. Now watch when I heat here, the film is going to shrink a bit. Okay, it's going to tighten up around the corner. And you don't really need much more than that. So let's finish up here. Let's finish up right in there. And if I have too much excess film in this area, we'll just trim it out. So same thing goes for here. Just keep in mind, you have, plastics that are in the area. We don't want to heat too much for too long. Just massage that around. Same thing here, let's push that. So you can see the film just sort of shrinking and tightening up. We use this to our advantage. So not only are we not stretching the vinyl, the shrinking effect of the film is actually shrinking itself down and around the edges. It's going to make them last forever. How could it not? Okay, let's check it out here. Let's check it out right here. Beautiful. I'm down as far as I need to be. Look at that. You can see my squeegee in the corner. Looks great. Same thing here. Squeegee in the corner. Everything looks great. No wrinkles. Everything's rounded and looking pretty. We're going to cut out our excess film. The issue with a lot of people when they're doing wraps is they put way too much vinyl around their edges and their corners and everything else. Now, right now I'm just trimming on the underside of the fender. If you put too much vinyl, what that does is it actually causes your wrap to not look as nice, and usually you just kind of end up overstretching and making a much bigger deal out of it than it needs to be. Same thing, I'm going to come right around that corner there. If you just kind of heat the film in most cases and just let it shrink down and around, it's going to work really well. Works great with this film. It's just the way to install it. The corners will be 100% perfect and durable because we didn't stretch it. How could they fail? Failure of film is normally due to overstretch. So gotta make sure that we don't have tension right there. Just kind of getting my hard edge of my squeegee in there. There we go. Let's move on to this area here. All right, so what do I like doing here? Well, there's a nice little gap that runs right around the light. This one has a gap, which is really nice. So we're just gonna run our knife in the gap. And if we're concerned about not having enough vinyl, we can always run our knife on the light as long as we only score the film. Right now, I'm actually running my knife on the light. My knife on the light, and I'm just scoring the film. That's gonna give me a little extra to tuck in. You're gonna see it in a second. So you can see it's sticking to the film. It's pulling it up. That's how you score the film. Every film is a little bit different as far as how it is to score each film. Here I'm gonna heat, so watch that. You saw all of that move. It's all moved now. It's all done, it's pre-shrinking. We want to lift off the tape, and then we're going to pre-tuck the film in using our tucking tool. Look at that. See how the film is curling out now towards you this way? It makes a big difference. It actually shows us that we have coverage in that area there. So I'm going to flip my knife, go this way a little bit from inside to out, and then from here, inside to out. There's going to be a nice little slot right there for my knife to fit in. I don't want to push hard. The object here is to not push hard. Good, that's gone. Stick that up there. Let's add a little bit more heat. And let's get this finished up right there. Now what we want to do for the headlight area, we have to tuck that in. Okay, so we're not done yet. Let's grab the hard edge of the squeegee and push the film in here. This will vary from car to car. I think my heat gun sounds like it's dying there. There we go. We can kind of force it in there a bit. And just give this Pac-Man motion. And sometimes I like to leave my squeegee in there, and that actually forces the area apart a little bit, and that I can get in there with something else also. Touch that up really nicely right there on that corner. Now, if we had the headlight and the bumper out of the way, we would have full access to that front corner. But as you can see, the front corner still turned out nice. Let's gently remove that. Perfect. Now all I have to do is just finish up this top edge just right here where the headlight and the hood and everything meets. Sometimes you can just open the hood up to do that. I mean, normally you do. But we can do this when it's close, and we can just go over it at the very end when the hood's up and we're ready to open it. But it's like not even that necessary. All right, so that's what that area looks like. Looks perfect. We're going to finish off the lower section. One thing here that I'm going to explain is I like to do this cut here first, and usually the bottom cut, because if I don't do this cut first, what I'm going to end up doing with this area here is wrapping it over to the bumper side because the film overlaps. So typically I like to remove that area first. Now this area has a little plastic trim right there, and the top of that plastic trim ends right there. So again, I could have removed this, not remove it, but like loosened the plastic trim, but we don't need to. The plastic trim is supposed to be there, so we're just going to leave it there and tuck in behind it. There we go. You're going to see that in a second, okay? Let me come out this way now, just like that. And now we're going to begin wrapping some of this vinyl around the inside edge. Now we don't need this much, usually just about an inch and a half. Leave yourself 2 if you want. 2 is good also. 1 to 2 inches, something like that. We're just minimizing how much film we have in this area so that we can actually minimize how much tension is being pushed around the edge. So what I like to do now is I like to heat this area here. I like to force the film around the corner right there. It's just generally how I do things. You want to start at the other end and do it your way? Hey, you can do it that way too, but I like to start at that end. Then here, take my vinyl, massage that around. Just keep massaging it around until we find the inside edge. The inside edge, I can feel it. We're there. Bit of a difficult area to show you since there is a lot of darkness in here, but we're just going to take our knife and run our knife along the inside edge, the back edge of our knife. The back edge of my knife means this flat area right here where the knife sits really nice against objects. Now I left too much vinyl there because I was talking, so I went back and just trimmed some off. And then same thing, just keep going down here. And just if I'm cutting anything, it's just I may be grazing the plastic wheel well trim, because that is there. And we just go with the flow, the way the edge feels and sits and the shape of it. Beautiful. It's all gone. I have one last piece to cut off. You can just wrap this under about 1/4 of an inch and then trim it, sort of what I'm doing now. We don't need a lot of vinyl down there. what you need to remember is that this is an exterior aesthetic. It's not to wrap into like engine bays and stuff. Sure, you can if the customer's paying for it, but it's not always the case. You know, most people do not want or care to pay for that kind of stuff. But you can wrap as far as you want. I'm just, again, showing you generally where you need to go. Let's go in here. This is beautiful. Amazing. Let's finish up here. Perfect. There's Mr. Spider over there. Like that. And we're gonna need to finish off the door area. So I'm gonna open this up, right? Just like that. Makes things a lot easier. I'm gonna take our heat gun and gently massage this edge down and around. So I'm gonna start off with this bottom corner down here, massage that down and around. It's the kind of the hard one to get at. Oftentimes, just using your finger is like, it's solid, it's good enough for this kind of stuff. You don't need to use your squeegee. Roll that around. A few passes, several passes is very important. You don't want to be doing this in one shot. It's like a couple of tries. Like at least, I would say, my personal experience, it's about 3 passes at minimum. I'm going to trim off the excess film right up top here. I don't need all that. It's just extra. Perfect. The fender is wrapped. I'm just going to heat that one corner that I just trimmed right now, and this fender will be entirely finished, looking good. Don't want that too close, need that open. And I'll bring you in so you can see, you know, the quality of the gloss finish and so forth. It looks really nice. Happy with it. This is a really nice color. And just to show you like underneath if I can, we're wrapped all the way inside there. All the way down, all the way fully covered. All the way down there. Now there's damage down here, right? So this is just damage, and that is what it is. But the wrap turned out phenomenal. Look at it. Tell me how many scratches you see in it. I don't see any scratches. Actually, the self-healing ability of this film is phenomenal. It looks great. You can see all the way down here. Really, really nice. Really, really nice. And that's it. That's how you wrap the front fender in KKvinyl gloss metallic purple. Beautiful color, beautiful finish, easy to use, excellent film. Really enjoyed it. And I hope that this video was informative and detailed in showing you how to do it. I look forward to doing more videos for you. Again, thank you for watching. I appreciate it. Take care.